Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Mr. Payne bringing you writing equations of lines in slope-intercept form. Unit 4, Lesson 5. Let's start off by quickly reviewing the slope-intercept form of a linear function is y equals mx plus b. Don't forget that f of x equals y. That can be used interchangeably when we're talking about functions. Don't forget that my m is my average rate of change, or my slope. The formula is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And b equals my y-intercept of the line, where I'm going to begin when I start graphing. Those are all things that really need to be hammered home in order to fully understand this topic today. Let's start off nice and easy. We're going to look at exercise number 1, determined as an equation in form of y equals mx plus b for this line. So we want to start off by identifying my m and my b. So what is my m? Well, my m is my slope. Let's take a look at this and see. I have a point right here and a point right here that are right on two good points. So I want to determine how many did I rise and how many did I run. So if I rised 1, 2, 3, rise over run, so I went 3, and let's pick a different marker real quick because that marker is tough to see. So it's 3 over, and I went to the right 2. The only other thing that you really should pay attention to is what kind of slope of a line is this. It's a positive slope, therefore your slope will be positive. Now my b, or my y-intercept, where does this function cross the y-axis? Well, if you said it crosses right here at 2, you would be correct. So when I want to write the equation of my line, I'm going to have y equals my slope, which is 3 over 2x, plus 2. Now it says test your equation of the value x equals 2. What does that mean? Well, I'm going to put in my x value of 2 in place of x. So in my equation I have y equals 3 over 2 times 2 plus 2. 3 halves times 2, so 3 times 2 is 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 3 plus 2 is going to give me 5. So my y equals 5. Let's test this out and see if the point 2, 5 is on this function. So I'm going to go over 2, up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's the point right there. So when I test it out for x equals 2, y equals 5, that is a good function. Exercise number 2 is a little bit more difficult than exercise number 1. It says find the equation of the linear function shown in slope-intercept form. So once again, my formula is y equals mx plus b. And let's figure out here what I can find easily. Well, I'm missing my m, and I'm missing my b. Let's figure this out. If I go from one point to the other point and figure out my rise, I'm going to have a rise of 2 and a run of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's recount that and make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good thing we recounted it. It's 2 over 6. And that is a negative line, so it's going to be a negative 2 over 6, which could simplify down to negative 1/3. So my slope of the line is negative 1/3. Now the problem that we have is that the b is not at a really good point. So how can we figure out what my b is exactly? Well, let me teach you how we're going to do that. We're going to find a point. We're going to pick one point. And the point that we're going to pick is 2, 1. We're going to pick 2, 1. We're going to use this point right in here. So I'm going to go ahead and write that point down. We know that's for a fact as a good point. Now, let's remember what that point is. That point is my x and my y. So I'm going to use this information and I'm going to plug it into that formula. I'm going to have 1 equals negative 1/3 times 2. And the only thing I don't know now is my b, so plus b. Now we're going to go ahead and continue doing some math. Negative 1/3 times 2 is going to give me negative 2/3 plus b. And then I'm going to add 2/3 to both sides. My answer is going to give me my b. My b will give me positive 1.66 if you're using a decimal. You can also write it as 5/3. All will be acceptable. Now if I wanted to write this in equation form using the y equals mx plus b formula, it's very simple. It'd be y equals my slope of negative 1/3 x plus 5/3, or 1.66. Now, is 1.66 right here? Yep, it's a little bit above 1, but not quite at 2. Let's take a look at exercise number 3. We're going to do the same exact thing, finding the equation of the line that passes through each of the following pairs of points for y equals mx plus b form. So the first thing I want to identify is my m. Let's use what we got. We're given 2 points. So we know how to find the rate of change using the formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. x1, y1, x2, y2. And this is to find my m, don't forget. So y2 is 17 minus y1, which is 5, x2, which is 5, x1 is 2. 17 minus 5 is 12, over 5 minus 2, which is 3, simplifies down to 4. So the slope of my line is 4. Now, just like the problem I'd done in the past, the formula that I'm using is y equals mx plus b. And I don't know my b yet. So I'm going to use point number 1, 2, 5, and the slope that I just found, and I'm going to plug it into my new formula. So I'm going to say 5 equals 4 times 2 plus b. 4 times 2 is 8, plus b equals 5. And now I'm going to just continue solving for b, minus 8 on both sides, and I'm going to get negative 3 equals b. So I now just found my b, which is negative 3. It would like you to place it back into the y equals mx plus b formula, so I have the information that's needed. Now let's just go ahead and write it in. Y equals 4x, and you can write plus a negative 3, or you can just write minus 3. That is the equation written in slope-intercept form. So let's recap. First, we have to find the slope. We can even write this down. First step, find the slope. Second step, solve for b. Third step, put into slope intercept form. B. I want to show you a different way to solve for this using a new formula. And that formula is found right at the top of your notes. And it's called the point slope formula. Why is it called The point slope formula, well, I'm going to show you in a minute. Given 2 points, what is the only thing that you can find? Well, it is the slope. And how do we do that? We have y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, also known as the rate of change. Right away, I always label my points. So x1, y1, x2, y2. y2 is 3 minus y1, which is 5. x2 is 2 minus negative 2. 3 minus 5 is negative 2 over 2 plus 2 is 4. Simplifies down to negative 1/2. Now I have my slope, which is negative 1/2, and a point. So the new formula, which is called point slope formula, takes 1 point and the slope and puts it into y equals mx plus b form. But first, you have to use this formula. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. And all we have to do is plug in properly. Y minus 5 equals negative 1/2 times x minus a negative 2. Right away, I'm going to change this to make that a positive, just so we don't forget. And now I'm going to do my math. Y minus 5 equals negative 1/2 x. Negative 1/2 times 2 is negative 1. I'm going to add 5 to both sides because I want to get y by itself. Y is going to equal negative 1/2 x plus 4. Therefore, my b is 4, if I want to go ahead and graph that. Both ways are acceptable. Doing it this way, you have to remember one more formula. If you do it the way I did it in point A, all you have to remember is the y equals mx plus b formula and plug in that point into the proper place and solve for b. And then rewrite the formula. I personally think that A, now that I've learned it, is a little easier because we don't have to remember this formula. You can pick and choose and do C and D on your own. Don't forget that Mr. O, Miss Bell, and myself will be looking for C and D when you come into class. Have a great night.